Hello, Jelly Spoons! Welcome back to another Monday Madness. This one will probably be quite late. I am filming this today. It is Monday. It is currently the Monday that I am going to post this, and it will be posted before UK midnight. I'm going to spend the afternoon editing. Loads of changes have happened in my life very suddenly, very recently. Mostly going to have good outcomes, but just means that I've had a lot of stuff to do, and as you may have noticed, I'm in a different location. So all good things, and I'm going to make this video. This has been on my list of videos I wanted to make for a while, so quite luckily I had most of it pre-scripted, because I'm starting to get organised with this stuff now. I know, I find it as hard to believe as you do. So this episode of Monday Madness, I'm going to be talking about cosplay tips, tricks, hacks, and myths that I wish I had known before I started cosplaying and when I first started cosplaying, and some of which I wish I remembered every day now. So I'm going to do a top 5, I'm going to count down from 5 all the way up to number 1, or count up from 5 to 1. We're going to go to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I will give you as much tips and advice as I possibly can, based on things I have experienced. But, of course, before we jump into the video, we have to do the obligatory pretending to be a professional and self-plugging my stuff. So here we go. Hello, I am Marcus Noise, and I have a Ko-fi and a Patreon. If you would like to support me and the cosplay stuff that I make, the work that I do, the videos that I do, you can throw me random support as and when you would like on Ko-fi, or if you have a monthly commitment you are willing to make to me, then head on over to my Patreon. I'll put all the links down below in the doodly-doo, and you can support me there. I made it in UK money, but it goes across to dollars and stuff. So I think the minimum is like $3 a month, something like that, and it goes up to like $10 a month. I am cheap. So if you would like to support me monthly, then head on over to my Patreon and you can support me there. If you are on my Patreon, then I try to update you on the things that I'm currently doing. I have done votes and polls, so you guys got to chuck in suggestions for my next cosplay of the month. I also post behind the scenes videos, so at the end of every month I post a video on here, which is my monthly cosplay vlog, which shows you the process I have made through making my cosplays every month. But if you are on my Patreon, then you get sneak peeks of what I'm doing. You also get to help me when I'm stuck on ideas and things. At some point while I was doing Lucien, I needed help on what colour I should do a certain thing, and people got to vote, that kind of stuff. But most importantly, you get dog photos of my adorable little dog. So there are photos of the dog that will be on there that are only accessible for Patreon. So if you fancy seeing dog photos and I guess bits of my chaos, back me on Patreon. On Ko-fi, I also have commissions. You can commission me. I am currently offering personalised messages in character from different characters. If you would like a Shakespearean-esque soliloquy composed by myself for your very own, then hit up my Ko-fi commissions and ask for one from Puck from A Midsummer Night's Dream. If you would like a slightly snooty message from Lucien the Nonagon from Critical Role, then hit up my commissions and ask for Lucien. And if you would like a loving, adoring, sarcasy message from Mollymauk, then again, hit up the Ko-fi commissions and you can get one from Molly. And last but by no means least, if you would like a special message delivered to you from the Neverland, then you can get a personalised message from Peter Pan. And I have done quite a lot of kids' birthdays and it makes me so happy. So yeah, that's my shameless self-plugging over. On with the video. Before we get started, if you have any advice for cosplayers or anybody at all, if you've got any advice on anything at all, chuck it down in the comments below. I would love to see your advice. It doesn't have to be about cosplay, it doesn't even have to be about costuming or anything, just any piece of advice that you have learned over your years of life. Chuck it in the comments, and who knows, you might be able to help somebody, whether it's advice about horse riding, cooking, cosplay, whatever it is. Chuck it down below, I'm sure you can help somebody, and hey, maybe we can all learn something new as well. I will see you in the comments, Jelly Spoons. My cosplay journey started in 2017 when I discovered a local con. I think I saw posts for it or something, and I had never been to a con before and I really wanted to go. And it was local and sort of small, so it felt like it was a sort of nice one to get started, like dip your toes into the first ever convention. And I immediately decided I want to go in costume. And I've gone in costume ever since. I refuse to go to cosplays without a costume now. It's just, my inner theatre kid is like, no, I need to be dressed up, I need to be a character, and I need attention. According to my wonderful friend Kat, that's the Aries in me. I hate that she's right all the time. Now, I had never made a costume before, not a full one at least. I had dabbled in little bits of LARPing and editing some of my clothes when I was a sort of punk goth teenager. Still a punk goth adult. You know, hacking up your jeans and making them all scraggledy, attaching chains to your t-shirts, that kind of thing. So I'd done little bits before. Oh, side note, talking about that, if you want to do really cool ripped jeans and have a really cool effect, then cut them, but use a lemon zester to really get the rough, worn edges. And if you want to do like some natural fraying, just use a lemon zester and go at them. That's how I did it, and they seem to look okay. So, tiny piece of advice for you right off the bat there. Tip number 5. There is no one correct way to do cosplay. There are so many different ways that you can get into and do your cosplay. There is no one correct answer. Some people like to do closet cosplays, and this can be a really good starter. So if you're just starting out on your cosplay journey, check what's in your closet already, because that can really help. You might find an item and go, oh yeah, I can make something with this, or it might inspire you for a particular character, that kind of thing. So closet cosplays, perfectly valid, perfectly amazing form of cosplay. I've seen some really awesome closet cosplays. You can also buy pre-made costumes. You can buy cheap ones, you can buy really expensive ones, you can commission someone to make them, you can get them mass produced. There's a million different ways you can get them. Any of this, absolutely fine. And if you can commission somebody to make either your whole costume or a piece for it, then that's amazing too, because you get to support these other creators who are making things too. And then we have the handmade, sewn, crafted cosplays. Now, I am a little bit biased because this is how I have always chosen to do my cosplays, because I like to work blood, sweat, and tears for my characters. But I do appreciate that this method is not for everybody. And even within the hand-making cosplay community, there are a bazillion different ways of doing it. I make everything by hand. I cannot use a sewing machine. I was never taught how. I have a sewing machine that somebody very kindly gifted to me, and I practiced with it a little bit, broke the needle, panicked, put it away, and never touched it again. So every single costume you have ever seen me wear has been painstakingly hand stitched, but it's worth it. But there are plenty of people who are sensible enough not to do that. And I applaud them. So however you would like to do it, whether you want to sew every single intricate detail, whether you want to buy little bits of the details, whether you want to make one thing and buy the rest, commission a piece and then make something, whatever you want to do, however you want to cosplay, whether it's closet cosplay, buying your cosplay, making it yourself, any of that is absolutely valid. Don't let anyone tell you different. All cosplay is cosplay. Number 4, don't be afraid of a challenge. Maybe you want to do a particular costume, character, that kind of thing, that is just really complicated, or there's a really big certain prop, or there's one piece that's very intricate, there's something really detailed that you really want to do, and it seems just big, baffling, and overwhelming. Well, first off, don't let that scare you off. You have no idea what you are capable of. I have made some things that I did not think possible. Example, I'll put up here. I made this lotus for my Athari cosplay. It's really small and it's just a detail, but it's one of the things I'm forever proud of myself for making, because 1, it stayed together, and 2, I made it on a whim. I had some wire and some silver tape and an old gem, and I made it. Like, I made that, and it looks great. Seriously, trust yourself. You are capable of way more than you expect. And you can also find really helpful tips, tricks, and advice. Look for other cosplayers. They might have shared their patterns or where they got their detailings from. Check YouTube. I find a lot of really helpful tips come from people like Bernadette Banner and other historical clothing makers. There are LARPers, there's Pinterest, there's so many different places where you can find help, especially if it's a really well-known character. There'll be plenty of advice because, well, loads of other people will have done it and they'll have been through exactly what you've been through, and they'll have worked out the kinks, so you'll be able to look for the best tips, tricks, and advice. But equally, learn from my mistakes here. If you get into something and it just seems like it's completely beyond your capabilities right now, that is fine. It's okay to just put that project to one side and maybe come back to it later. I did it. I've done it with my 4th Molly coat. I love my Molly coat, but in order to keep loving it, I have put it to one side. It's partly why I'm enjoying doing my 12 months of cosplay challenge, because I don't really have time to touch my Molly coat, which means at the end of the year when I come back to it, and hopefully it can be ready for 2022 cons, here's hoping, but it means when I come back to the coat, I'll be fully fresh and I'll have loads of ideas and I'll be ready to get back into it and just do endless embroidery for months at a time. So don't be afraid of burnout, or if it's too difficult, just, yeah, it's okay. You can take a step back. You can always come back to things. Number 3, you do not need expensive fabrics and expensive materials to do good cosplay. Seriously, not naming any names, but I got this comment from a fairly big so-called professional cosplayer in a comment online where I was talking about how you can get fabric from thrift stores and you can make your stuff out of that. They said, yeah, thrift store fabric is fine as long as you're not entering competitions. Yeah, bull. Utter bull. I have never heard such gatekeeping nonsense in my entire frigging life, and I'm in the Harry Potter fandom. Most of my fabrics and materials are bought from thrift stores. Dresses or bits of clothing that I have cut up to use the fabric for, bits of jewelry that I've used, curtains, rugs, anything. Most of my stuff is from thrift stores. Also, all of my wigs cost under $30. My makeup, my brushes, and my body paint, they are all either own brands, cheap, or basics. All of my shoes were cheap or thrifted. Here are my Athari boots. I bought a very simple suede pair of black boots from a charity shop for £1.50, and then I added all the extra details onto them. The only fabric or materials that I do not get from thrift stores is when I want a very specific piece. But that is where my wonderful Ko-fi and Patreon supporters come in. Because of them, I can afford to occasionally buy a piece of fabric or a material that I really need. But even then, I do want quality, but I never look for something that's expensive over something that's cheap, cheerful, and will absolutely do the job. And guess what? I also placed at 2 cosplay competitions wearing thrift store bought fabric and $20 wigs. The judges knew where I got everything. In the discussion beforehand, I told them, I was like, yeah, so this is my Molly coat. It's made out of a pair of curtains that I got from a thrift store. These leggings are bits of fabric that I bought from old sundresses I cut up. These horns are made of garden wire. And you know what? The judges did not say, oh, that wasn't expensive material. You know what they said? They said, cool, that's really innovative. So please do not let anyone ever try and convince you that you need to blow a ton of money in order to do good cosplay. It's just not true. Number 2. This is actually a piece of advice that I got from my wonderful friend Bro. Hello Bro and Kat, I've mentioned you both in this video now. So I was talking to Bro about all the different tips I wish I'd known when I was starting cosplay, and they actually had this really great idea. And they said, don't let unsolicited advice put you down. And you know what? They are bang on the money with this one. Whether you are at a convention, posting online, wherever it is, you are quite likely to get some comments. Now, it's lovely to get them. I love getting comments. I love chatting to people about what we're making and what they think of my costume. But sometimes people may have good intentions, but when they try to give you advice, especially if you haven't asked for it, it's different. If you make a post saying, hey, I'm making this costume, has anyone got any tips? That's different. When you just post a picture saying, hey, this is my work in progress, or hey, this is my finished cosplay, or you're just innocently posting, say, a video of you in a cosplay. And that means some people decide they're going to comment and give you tips. And it comes from a good place most of the time, and most of the time they are very lovely, but some people, it can sound a little patronizing. So if you're one of these people who gives advice, in the nicest possible way and from the bottom of my heart, thank you for trying to help everybody else, but please watch your tone when you do it, particularly online, because it can be very off-putting to new people or someone who's very proud of something they've just finished, and then they get a comment that feels like it's patronizing and saying to them, oh, have you tried? You should be doing this. Oh, it's very good, but, or just please reread what you're about to write several times and just think sometimes people don't really want your advice. Sometimes people are just happy with what they're doing. So read the room before you leave comments like that. Again, unless they're asking for your help. But even then, do it nicely. Sometimes you get very rude comments. Sometimes you get quite nice ones, but as I said, it can just seem a little patronizing. Take the critique, but don't take it personally, I think is what I'm saying. Try your best with that. It is hard, especially because tone is so difficult, particularly in comments on the internet. And if someone really wants to get into a chat with you about how you made something, only do that if you're very comfortable. If you're not comfortable, by all means, you don't have to engage with people like that. Plus, if they really are being rude, they do not deserve your time, so don't give it to them. All right, before we get to number 1, I'm going to throw you just a few general hints and tips that I think can be really helpful. Don't be afraid to delve into doing OCs, original characters. This means that there is no canon cosplay that you have to copy. You can do completely your own thing and incorporate it into the world that you would like to, whether it's a background Slytherin in Harry Potter, an elf from somewhere in Middle-earth, a D&D character that you're playing, an AU version of another character, any of those. They can be really fun, and it takes some of the pressure off from having to do a canon character. On the same vein, please don't panic about being perfect or canon. You do not have to look exactly like the character, and not everything has to go exactly how you wanted it to go originally. Things will go wrong, it just happens. The best way to deal with that is to pick yourself up, learn from any mistakes, and just see how can I do it better in the future. But please don't drive yourself crazy with it, because then you won't be enjoying it. And a really useful tip that I learned from one particularly cold Comic-Con: if you are doing a character who has bare legs or arms, I highly recommend getting yourself some ice skater tights. You can wear them just like you would normal tights, and you can get them in all different colours, including skin tones, so they can just match your skin, and then you've got your outfit on. But if it's a little bit cold, your legs can stay nice and warm. Okay, so number 1. This is going to sound super cliche, but it's true, okay? Have fun. If you're not having fun, then what is the point? The hard work of making a costume or putting a costume together or creating videos or doing a photo shoot, it's not going to be worth it if you're not enjoying yourself. Pick characters that you love, pick costumes that you love, do something that you love. I will always prefer watching somebody who is quite clearly having the time of their life over someone who maybe just looks perfect. If you're doing, say, a TikTok video and you just don't look like you're having fun, I'm probably not even gonna like it, you know? I'm gonna be impressed with the costume, but you're gonna get scrolled past. But if I see somebody else, maybe their costume's not as great, but if they're going for it and enjoying themselves, that's gonna grab my attention way more. Some people are much more comfortable just doing, say, a photo shoot. And that is absolutely fine. If you're not comfortable to act as the character or even go to a con or maybe get on the stage and do a competition, if that's not for you, that is fine. You are still a perfectly valid, awesome, amazing cosplayer. Maybe you're not comfortable doing photo shoots. Maybe you're not comfortable making videos or being on TikTok. Maybe you'd rather just go to a con in your cosplay. Maybe you don't want to wear the cosplays at all. Maybe you just like to make them and be commissioned to make them for other people. Any and all ways that you do it is absolutely fine. Experiment a little bit. Don't be afraid to sort of push your boundaries if you dare. You might find you enjoy things more than you expect, but never, ever, ever feel pressured to do any more than you are happy with. If you want to be a just at home cosplayer, that is absolutely fine. If you want to be big and crazy like me and go to every con in character, speaking to a million people, strutting around the stage, taking photos, then by all means, it's great fun, come and join. If you would be much more comfortable going to a con in your regular civvy clothes and maybe coming up and saying hi, please come up and say hi. I love seeing people at cons, it's great. But whatever you're comfortable with, wherever you have the most fun, that's the most important. So have fun doing your cosplays, however you are doing them. All right, so to recap all of that, there is no right or wrong way to cosplay. Don't be afraid to challenge yourself. You do not need expensive materials. Never let negative comments put you down. And number one, always have fun. If you're not having fun, it's just not worth it. So that will wrap up today's Monday Madness video. I hope it turns out okay. I am in a completely different place with lighting and sound and it's all being a bit weird, but hopefully this will come across okay. I will get it posted by UK midnight. It will happen. So I am toddling off to do some editing now. Frantic editing of the video. Leave comments down below if you've got any advice for cosplayers or for anybody else. What cosplays are you doing? Are there any characters you'd really like to cosplay? Are there any characters you think you'd like to see me cosplay? That's always fun. I am currently working on my Silas Briarwood and my The Darkling. I'll be posting updates on that very soon and it shall be finished by next week. So I'm off to do loads of frantic editing and then loads of frantic sewing. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for hanging out with me. Stay safe, stay amazing. I love you all, jelly spoons. Goodbye! Also, if you want to support me, go to my Ko-fi, my Patreon.